Hi, my friends. It's Nic Leobold with another edition of Nic Leobold Live. And today, on this episode, I want to talk about the misconception about the elitists and the establishment's self-interest in continuing their oppression of ordinary people. Because a lot of people who complain about statism and socialism and the oppression of the establishment and ruling classes over regular people, they just assume that all of this oppression and statism and socialism and high taxation benefits the elites. But I would argue that it's just the opposite, that the elites and the establishment and the ruling classes are making themselves much more unhappy and destroying the life of everyone, including themselves, compared to what life could be if we really had a peaceful, voluntary, and free trading, private system, like along the lines of free market anarchism, libertarianism, and voluntarism. The elites and the ruling classes and the establishment and the bureaucracy creates tremendous unhappiness, strife, and violence even in their own worlds. It's not just the lower classes and the middle class and the working class who they're making unhappy. They're making themselves unhappy. The ruling classes and the elites and all of their bureaucracy, they make themselves unhappy, and they bring tremendous violence and lack of tranquility and lack of harmony and conflict into their own lives constantly. And if you think about the prison industrial complex, if you think about the corrupt and harmful and mass-killing medical industry, if you think about the lies and dishonesty and propaganda of the mainstream media, and if you think about how many people are unemployed because of too much regulations and too much taxes and too much market controls like the minimum wage. If you think about all the problems in society, those problems also affect the establishment and the elites and the ruling classes, and it's pretty clear that it makes their life unhappy. I mean, if you look at a person like George Soros and look at pictures of him, I mean, he looks like a dried out, senile old prune. I mean, the guy does not look very happy. The guy does not look very healthy. And a lot of these establishment, high-powered, leaders do not look very healthy or happy. They look like they're under tremendous stress and tremendously unhealthy. And it's not a surprise, because they're inflicting so much violence and oppression on so many people, and it has to affect them spiritually and psychologically. And also the amount of force and violence and dishonesty and pressure they have to use throughout their lives must make them very, very unhappy, or much more unhappy than they would otherwise be, and much more stressed. If you think about the prison guards in the prisons and the jails, who have to guard so many people who are incarcerated, and so many of whom are innocent people or who have just been convicted of political or victimless crimes, think of the stress and the guilt and the violence that inflicts on the prison guards. And, things like this are spiritual, and they're karmic, and they are holistic and interconnected, and all of these negative vibes and negative experiences and violence and force, it all accumulates in a karmic sense with all of the people who are doing these violent things and violent policies, and it reverberates and accumulates in their lives, and just it must destroy them. And like, if you look at pictures of them, like I said, you can see that they're very old, aged people, a lot of them. And even even if they're total sociopaths and they just don't care, the violence comes back to them in blowback. And I mean, think of how presidents of the United States age while in office. You can see that President Obama has aged significantly. His hair has turned gray while he's been in office. He seems in pretty good physical shape, but all of this violence and oppression must take a physical and mental and emotional toll on people. And the misconception is that it only affects the people who they're oppressing, but I think that it really also affects the oppressors and the statists and the leaders and the masterminds of all the oppression too. So it's not true that that their oppression is profitable. I think it's just the opposite. I think everyone is living under a false paradigm, which is that the powerful politicians and elites really profit from all of their control and their oppression. But I don't think it's true. I don't think they do profit. And I think that since the world suffers and degenerates under all this oppression, I think it actually makes it worse for everyone, including the people who are doing it, including the elites and the establishment and the politicians and the police and the judges and all those people. I think that they're suffering too from their own behavior and their own policies. And I think we have to open their eyes and, show them the truth, which is we need a peaceful, voluntary, cooperative society where people show respect to everyone else. They show respect to everyone else's property and self-ownership. And we get along by voluntary cooperation rather than trying to force our opinions on others or take away their property just because we don't have as much. And stop being envious of other people and start loving ourselves and start appreciating everything that we have and being grateful for what we have and making the most of everything that we have and everything and all the talents and the individuality, creativity, and specialness that each of us has. So that's what libertarianism and free market anarchism and voluntarism is all about. And so I think we have to forget this paradigm that the rich and the elites are getting away with something. They're not getting away with anything. The suffering and the oppression that they inflict is bouncing right back at them, and they are suffering too, and they are not happy, and their attempt at locking down everything is just a reflection of how unhappy and unsatisfied they are. So we have to open their eyes and educate them about how a voluntary, peaceful, cooperative society would be far, far superior to what we have now or anything else. So we have some educating to do, and we have some eyes to open. And the world could be a much, much better place with prosperity for almost everyone, if not everyone, and with unlimited possibilities in technology, health, recreation, leisure, culture, art, creativity. The world has so much potential, and we just have to educate people and open eyes to show what is possible with a voluntary, cooperative, peaceful society like free market anarchism, voluntarism, and libertarianism, small L libertarianism, promises, which is the best possible world for everyone. So I hope you found this message somewhat meaningful and productive. And please like this video and share it, and leave comments in the comments section, which I always leave open because I love free expression and free speech, which is like one of the foundations of a productive, creative, voluntary, and liberated society is free expression. So I always leave the comment section totally open. And I like most of what you have to contribute to the comment section. So this is Nic Leobold, and thank you very much. This is Nic Leobold at Nic Leobold Live. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on my next video. Thank you.